This guy has only been learning Mandarin for 1.5 years, and he's already fluent in Mandarin.
我中文学了1年半，我不是一个什么天才或者是什么语言天赋，我有的你们大家都有。
My student, just 3 months, and they already say more than you do.
我叫杰森，我是澳大利亚人，我今年52岁了，我现在住在澳大利亚悉尼，我是体重机操作员。
So what are they doing so differently that creates such a huge gap using the same amount of effort as you do? Many people try and learn Mandarin the same way. They memorize vocabulary list, study grammar rules, and follow textbook method. But that's exactly where things go wrong. When you look closely at how fast learners actually study, you will notice something interesting. They follow a completely different approach. And it actually confirms many of the principles I have been teaching for a very long time. So in today's video, I'm breaking down a video from Dennis where he shared how he learned Mandarin so quickly and reached a high level in such a short time. And more importantly, you will understand why certain method works and why so many learners stay stuck. I have used this principle myself and I have applied them with my students, and they make a huge difference. So make sure you watch until the end because this might completely change the way you learn Mandarin. Hello, my name is Jenny. I'm a Mandarin coach. I help Mandarin beginners who are stuck at the beginner level to speak their first 5-minute Mandarin conversation within 3 months. So, are you ready? Let's get started.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Dennis。我的直播间里经常有人问我的中文是怎么学的，跟你们分享5个技巧，是让我的中文学习过程变得非常。第一，我觉得发音是最重要的，因为我之前听过其他的外国人，比如说美国人说中文的时候，就是他们的口音是很严重的。所以呢，一开始我专门花了1个月的时间只学发音，因为我不想要之后是没有人听得懂我说话。
Point number 1, pronunciation comes first. One of the strongest beliefs I always emphasize is this: pronunciation is the foundation of Mandarin. Because if people cannot understand you clearly, everything becomes meaningless. Most learners underestimated pronunciation at the beginning, but it becomes the biggest bottleneck later. Here's what I wanted to be clear. Usually, it takes around 20 to 25 hours of focused practice to build a solid foundation in pronunciation, including tones. So if you study about 1 hour per day, you can reach the stage roughly within a month. But if you're busy and only can do around 30 minutes per day, like many of my students in my course, then it may take around 1.5 to 2 months. But the important point is this: no matter how long it takes, as long as you fix pronunciation early, everything else becomes significantly easier. Because you're not just learning sounds, you are building the foundation that supports everything else in the language. And I know tones are where most students struggle. So if you want to go deeper, I have made 2 separate videos. So one is about learning all Mandarin 4 tones in 10 minutes. And another one is how to train your tones properly. So you can watch all them here. We mentioned about that's exactly why I create my 6-week Mandarin pronunciation program. So it is focused on the parts most learners skip. So you can finally speak clearly, be understood, and feel confident having real conversation. So if you have been learning for a while but still don't feel confident speaking, this might be the missing piece. So I currently invite a small group of beginners to join. If you want to see if it's a good fit for you, so just comment I'm interested and I will send you the details.
最重要是我怎么背的单词，我自己发明了一个背单词最快的方式，也就是我把中文里的前100最常见的字做了一个10×10的 Excel 表，然后在那个里面写了中文的100个最常见的单词，我打印在7张纸上面，然后我随身带着，每次出去我随时都有机会复习这700个字。举个例子，我、你、他、我们、你们、他们，1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10，巴拉巴拉巴拉巴拉，就是这样子做出来的。那个时候我花了很长的时间才列出来了这么多的逻辑性的字，但是呢，现在我相信用 AI 应该5分钟就能搞定。
So point number 2, learn high frequency words, not random. So this is another point I always mention because random memorization is one of the slowest ways to make progress. I want to emphasize something important. So it is not really about the number 100, it is about focusing on the most common words, the words you actually use in daily life. So these words are the building blocks of real communication. So the key idea is not memorizing a fixed list. It's prioritizing the words that appear again and again in real conversation in daily life. Another thing I would like to mention is that if your goal is speaking, you can even start with pinyin-only cards. Because at the beginning, pronunciation matters more than writing characters. So if you spend too much time on characters early, that can slow down your speaking progress. Also, when memorizing words, do not just learn them randomly. Because Chinese words are usually like Lego. It's a very structured and logical language. Once you understand how it's built, everything becomes much easier to remember and use. I've also made a separate video on this topic as well, so if you want to go deeper into how Chinese vocabulary really works, you can watch in here.
第三，最重要是你背任何新单词的时候必须举个例子。如果你背单词不举例子，你的脑子把这个单词带成一个代码，这样学习单词就跟学习一些陌生人的电话号码一样的，没有用。而且你举的例子都要跟你的生命最亲密的。举个例子 ，Some televisions manufactured in China has an average life expectancy of 30 years. 你们觉得这句话跟你们的生命有直接的关系吗？没有啊。所以你们可以举一个这样子的例子 ：I watched television for 1 hour today. 这个是不是跟你们的生命更直接的？这样你永远不会忘记新单词，因为你脑子直接把它当成一个有用的东西，而不是一个没用的东西。
So point number 3, never learn words without personal context. This is another principle I always emphasize. So always learn words in connection with your own life and turn them into personal sentence. I have experienced this myself when learning English. If I learn the words from news or podcasts, I forget them really quickly. But if I use them to talk about my own life immediately, I remember them so much better. Because when language connected to your daily experience, it stops being just information. It becomes something you actually use. And that's what makes it stick long term.
还有跟自己说话，而且你要学会随时评论你自己的生命。举个例子 ，After I finished making this video, I will eat my dinner because I'm starving and it's already 6:30 p.m. 就是这样子的，很简单的评论一下你自己的生命，尽量用英语的。其实对自己很有用。我每天5个小时逼着自己跟自己说话，结果呢，过了2个月之后，我就可以简单的交流。
So point number 4, talk to yourself. So the most important habit he developed, and that's something I have personally done too, is this. He talked to himself in Mandarin. So when I learn the language, I often catch myself thinking, oh, how would I say this in English? He said he will constantly describe his daily life. You don't need to do 5 hours a day because most people simply don't have that kind of time. But instead, you can start with something small. For example, I asked one of my students, Lisa, I asked her to describe her daily life, all her thoughts in Mandarin. So he just gave me 10 sentences each time. So he gave me the homework 3 times a week. If she doesn't know a word, she can simply look it up. So very, very quickly, she was able to speak for 2 to 3 minutes continuously. So this method is powerful because when you verbalize your daily life, you train your brain to think directly in Mandarin. And over time, you stop translating completely.
一开始我学中文的时候，正好是在欧洲，也没有语言环境。不管你在哪里，你都可以创造自己的语言环境，通过看视频、看电影、看电视剧。
So point number 5, create your own language environment. A lot of students believe you can only learn Mandarin well if you live in a Chinese-speaking country. But in reality, I have seen many people live in China for years and still struggle to speak Mandarin. So the environment definitely helps, but it's not the main factor to speak it well. What environment really affects most is actually give you the listening input. The more you listen, the more you understand. The good news is you literally can create your own environment anywhere. So if we put everything together, pronunciation comes first, learn high-frequency words, not random words, Always connect your words to your personal life, talk to yourself, and lastly, create your own language environment. So what's interesting here is not just one person's method, but how it confirms what many effective learners actually discover. So language learning is not about studying harder, it's about learning in the right method. And once your method is correct, progress becomes much faster and much more natural. So after today's video, what are you going to change about your Mandarin learning? Which idea resonates with you the most? Feel free to drop a comment and share your thoughts. And also, feel free to ask any question about learning Mandarin. So, thank you for watching today's episode, and I will see you in the next one.